On March 9, 2022, a team of scientists and adventurers announced they had finally located what remained of the Endurance at the bottom of Antarctica's Weddell Sea. The team made the discovery using submersibles and undersea drones and released stunning photos of the long-lost wooden ship, where it had lodged in the seabed nearly 10,000 feet deep in clear and icy waters. The discovery of Ernest Shackleton's ship at the bottom of Antarctica's Weddell Sea recalls a grueling expedition when men endured entrapment, hunger, frigid weather, angry seas, and near madness. The survival story of Sir Ernest Shackleton and his crew is one of the most remarkable tales of endurance and leadership in the history of exploration. In 1914, Shackleton led the Imperial Trans-Antarctic Expedition with the goal of making the first land crossing of the Antarctic continent. However, their ship became trapped in ice and was eventually crushed, leaving the crew stranded. Embark on an extraordinary journey as we delve into the survival story of Ernest Shackleton, a tale of resilience and determination in the face of unimaginable odds. Endurance had left South Georgia for Antarctica on December 5, 1914, carrying 27 men plus one stowaway who became the ship's steward, 69 dogs, and a tomcat erroneously dubbed Mrs. Chippy. The goal of expedition leader Shackleton, who had twice fallen short, once agonizingly so, of reaching the South Pole, was to establish a base on Antarctica's Weddell Sea coast. From there, a small party, including himself, would set out on the first crossing of the continent, ultimately arriving at the Ross Sea south of New Zealand, where another group would be waiting for them, having laid depots of food and fuel along the way. 2 days after departing South Georgia, the Endurance encountered the pack ice, an imposing barrier of thick sea ice encircling the Antarctic continent. Over the following weeks, the ship cautiously navigated through openings in the ice, steadily progressing southward. However, on January 18th, a powerful northerly gale forced the pack ice against the land, effectively trapping the Endurance. As days turned to weeks and weeks to months, the Endurance was slowly crushed by the immense pressure of the ice. Shackleton's men watched helplessly as their ship, their lifeline, was splintered and swallowed by the frozen expanse. Yet, in the face of despair, Shackleton's leadership shone. He kept morale high, ensuring that his crew stayed busy with tasks and maintained hope. During the period between leaving the Endurance and witnessing the ice swallow it up, the crew salvaged all possible provisions while shedding anything that added weight or would deplete vital resources. This included items like Bibles, books, clothing, tools, and personal mementos. Regrettably, some of the younger dogs were shot for being too small to pull their weight, as was the unfortunate Mrs. Chippy, much to the dismay of many. The initial plan was to march across the ice toward land, but that was abandoned after the men managed just 7.5 miles in 7 days. There was no alternative. Slowly and steadily, the ice drifted farther to the north, and on April 7, 1916, the snow-capped peaks of Clarence and Elephant Islands came into view, flooding them with hope. Shackleton wrote in his diary that the ice they were on had been helpful, but it was starting to melt and might break apart soon. On April 9th, it broke with a loud noise. Shackleton told everyone to pack up and get in the boats. Now they had a new foe to contend with, the open ocean. It threw freezing spray in their faces and tossed frigid water over them, and it batted the boats from side to side and brought brave men to the fetal position as they battled the elements and seasickness. Throughout the journey, Captain Worsley steered the ship through rough waters and storms. After 6 days, they finally spotted Clarence and Elephant Islands, just 30 miles away. The men were exhausted. Captain Worsley hadn't slept for 80 hours, Some were sick from seasickness, while others had dysentery. Frank Wild, Shackleton's second-in-command, said that at least half the group were not thinking clearly, but they kept rowing towards their destination. Finally, on April 15th, they reached Elephant Island and stepped onto land. This was their first time stepping on land after being at sea for 497 days since leaving South Georgia. But their challenges weren't finished yet. There was a very slim chance of anyone finding them. So after 9 days of recuperation and preparation, Shackleton, Worsley, and 4 others sailed in a lifeboat named the James Caird to reach a whaling station in South Georgia, which was over 800 miles away. For 16 days, they fought big waves and strong winds. They had to remove water from the boat and remove ice from the sails. Shackleton said the boat rocked a lot on the waves. The sky was gray and looked scary. Every wave was a problem. When they were close to their goal, the wind became very strong. It made loud noises and made big waves. The boat moved up and down a lot. It was very hard for the boat. The next day, the wind calmed down and they reached land. Help was close by, but the challenges weren't over yet. The storms had blown them off course, so they ended up on the opposite side of the island from the whaling station. Shackleton, Worsley, and Tom Crean had to trek on foot to reach it. They climbed mountains, slid down glaciers, and made a path no one had ever taken before. Finally, after 36 hours of exhausting hiking, they arrived at the Stromness station. 3 unknown people couldn't have come to the whaling station, especially not from the mountains. But somehow they did. Their hair and beards were messy, their faces dirty from working near the blubber stoves, and they looked tired and thin from almost 2 years of hardship. After rescuing the other 3 members of the James Caird boat, they focused on saving the 22 men still stuck on Elephant Island. But this last job was the hardest and took a lot of time. The first ship they used almost ran out of fuel because of the ice. It had to go back to the Falkland Islands. Then a ship from Uruguay got close to Elephant Island but couldn't make it because of the ice. Every morning on Elephant Island, Frank Wild, who was in charge while Shackleton was away, told everyone to pack up their things. He said Shackleton might come today. But as days passed, his friends lost hope. They looked for the rescue ship eagerly, but some thought it would never come. Shackleton managed to get another ship called the Yelko from Chile. Finally, on August 30th, 1916, the Endurance crew's long journey ended. They saw the Yelko approaching while they were having lunch. It had been 128 days since James Caird left. Within an hour, they left the island. After 20 months in the Antarctic, all of them were alive and safe. While Shackleton's crew miraculously made it back to England, his ship did not. For more than a century, the Endurance remained among history's most elusive shipwrecks. But in 2022, an international team of marine archaeologists, explorers, and scientists located the Endurance at the bottom of the Weddell Sea, approximately 4 miles south of the position originally recorded when the Endurance sank. We have made polar history with the discovery of Endurance and successfully completed the world's most challenging shipwreck search, said John Shears, the leader of Endurance 22, the expedition team that used submersibles and drones to locate the wooden ship. Photos released from the Endurance. 22 expedition revealed the sunken 3-masted ship in mesmerizing detail, including an image of its stern where its name Endurance was visible above a 5-pointed star.
As we conclude this incredible tale, let Shackleton's remarkable journey serve as a reminder of the indomitable human spirit and the power of perseverance in the face of adversity. If you found this story as inspiring as we did, Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more captivating historical narratives.